However, when at such a nascent stage, the girls do so well, even if they just reach the final, that's such a big achievement for someone in that nascent stage. Do you think that going forward, this will also push forward more, sponsorships, more funds?
Surely, thank you for correcting. It's just that things have changed in the last 5 years or so. What is the sponsorship? When you win the World Cup, the state government gives you 2.5 crores, gives you a piece of land, gives you a solid job, then sponsorship will only give you 20, 30, 50 lakhs. Ask TOS and he will agree to it. When a Maharashtra government gives 2.5 crores for one World Cup, and believe me, beyond the World Cup, you have the player retention, the player purse, the WIPL, the appearance, it goes on to be pretty big. I think that the paradigm has shifted from sponsorship to awards and rewards. I think the rewards is far bigger word in today's context as compared to sponsorship. So I think we shouldn't be worried. And also the match fee that is there, which is increased. I remember the girls in 2005 used to get 5,000 per match per day in Cape Town, and now this has become completely different altogether. Yes.
Do you also think so that the future will be much bigger, even in terms of rewards, if you're saying that?
See, the match days have grown to 67% of the women's cricket all across the world, which means if there were 100 matches playing last year, it's now 167 something matches per annum. And when you put in together the league contact, the social, the first class cricket, it is grown by 300% in India itself. So India is the largest engine of growth for women's cricket. India is also helping the other disciplines and the various categories, able-bodied, under-19, hearing impaired, blind cricket, everything put together. India is the engine of growth. Yes, Toss, you want to walk in?
No, yeah, I agree with Sunil Bhai when it comes to rewards. But I think, what about the basics? I mean, what about the infrastructure? What about the support? I mean, we were talking about, Shivani was talking about the struggle that the women's cricket, the blind cricketers went through, or the women's cricket. What about the initial stages, the money, the sponsorship? The sponsorship matters when you start, when you the infrastructure matters, the investment matters, then the system matters then. And that is where, I mean, the other day I was at the wheelchair cricket tournament. They were struggling to find the sponsor. They were struggling to find the, umbrella that they were looking at in Mumbai somewhere. So that is where it matters. I mean, rewards and achievements, you get rewards and achievements when you achieve success. But what about the beginnings? I mean, the support that that you need at the beginning, that is when you will start producing champions regularly.
Absolutely. I think that support system is necessary in the initial stages. And Sunil, if you are there in Colombo, we hope that you catch that final over there and we win that. Thank you so much to both Toss and Sunil for joining us on this broadcast. We are shifting focus now. A bomb threat email sent to the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Hyderabad on Friday evening turned out to be a hoax. According to officials, an email claimed that an RDX bomb had been placed near the arrival area of the airport. The SHO of the RGIA Outpost Police Station stated that the officials immediately carried out a thorough check across the airport and found nothing. He emphasized that the bomb threat was fake. The police have launched an investigation to identify the person behind the threatening email. Joining us live on the broadcast is my colleague Raj Kiran with more details on the story. Raj, we are obviously seeing increased vigilance, a high alert across all security establishment. The Hyderabad airport received a bomb threat, though it was a hoax. Could you tell us some more details about this entire incident?
Yes, Shivani, a fake bomb threat email sent to the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport yesterday in the evening, which has turned out to be a hoax. So when we spoke to the officials, according to the officials, an email claiming that RDX bomb has been placed near the arrival area of the airport. So immediately the authorities has been alert. So immediately CRPF and the Hyderabad police, RGIA police, as well as the bomb squad immediately reached the airport, across the airport, and found nothing. So station house officer, RGIA airport, has been said threat is a fake, and police has police have launched an investigation to identify the person behind this threatening email. This is not the first email that has been received to Hyderabad International Airport, but this is the third or fourth call in last 1.5 month. Continuously 2 to 3 times. This is the third call, third email has been received to Hyderabad International Airports. Now the police is investigation into the matter. Who is the person behind this, who is sending constantly emails to the RGIA airports? And now police is searching for him. And the alert has been placed, and each and everything was checking, but simultaneously the police and the authorities don't want to take any chance there. So immediately the searches was launched. Nothing has been found yet.
All
Shivani.
right, thank you so much, Raj. We are now going to look at some updates from the Delhi Red Fort blast case. The Jammu and Kashmir Medical Association have written a letter to their witness to in fact the Jammu and Kashmir they have written Medical Association have written a strong letter condemning the November 10th Delhi blast that killed 14 people at the Red Fort. The JKMSA has said that it stands united with the nation and the victims of this tragedy. Furthermore, the JKMSA has said that it was deeply disturbing by the emerging reports which suggest the involvement of medical professionals in the attack, adding that it constitutes a fundamental violation of the Hippocratic Oath. Joining us on the broadcast is my colleague Ashik Mir with more details on this story. Ashik, we are learning that the Jammu and Kashmir Medical Association has written to register their strong condemnation of the November 10th blast.
Well, absolutely. In a strong and emotional reaction, the Jammu Kashmir Medical Association students has condemned the recent terrorist attack in Delhi, calling it a drastically act against humanity. In a statement, the association said it stands firmly with the nation and the victims of the tragedy. What more disturbing, they say, are the emerging reports suggesting the involvement of medical professionals in the attack, calling it a grave breach of ethics and a direct violation of Hippocratic Oath. The Jammu Kashmir Medical Students Association said such individuals do not represent the value of commitment of the medical community and must face the harshest punishment under the law. The association reiterated its support to peace, humanity, and national integrity, demanding a thorough investigation into the matter. Back to you, studio.
All right, thank you so much, Ashik, for all those details. Moving on now, AIMIM Chief Asauddin Owaisi, while addressing a gathering in Almore, stated that their party will open the party office for all their 5 MLAs in the next 6 months in Bihar. He added that these 5 MLAs will be present at these offices and interact with people twice every week. He said, and I quote, "I will also try to visit once in 6 months. We congratulate the new Bihar government. We are ready to cooperate with them, but justice must be done with Seemanchal." Let's in fact listen into what he said.
मैं वो दफ्तर बनाऊंगा इंशाअल्लाह ताला और 6 महीने के अंदर हमारी कोशिश होगी कि उसके काम को शुरू किया जाए और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि अख्तरुल ईमान साहब हफ्ते में कम से कम 2 दिन अमूर ब्लॉक के ऑफिस में और 2 दिन बैसा ब्लॉक के ऑफिस में बैठकर आवाम से मुलाकात करेंगे, उनकी तकलीफ को सुनेंगे। दूसरी बात यह है कि रिश्वतखोरी, भ्रष्टाचार, इसका खात्मा अमूर की विधानसभा हो, बैसा की विधानसभा हो या कोचा दामन हो या बहादुरगंज हो या जोकी हाट हो, इसका खात्मा करना ये मजलिस इत्तेहादुल मुस्लिमीन के रुकन असेंबली की जिम्मेदारी होगी।
All right, so over there you can see that the AIMIM chief is stating that all the 5 MLAs who actually won with great number of votes in Bihar assembly elections will be present in their offices every day, and this will help interaction and communication with, in fact, the people of Bihar. Joining us on the broadcast is my colleague Shailendra Sharma with more details on this story. Shailendra, AIMIM Chief असदुद्दीन ओवैसी ने कहा है कि उनके जो पार्टी के MLAs हैं जो चुन के आए हैं इस बार, वो रोज़ मुलाकात करेंगे लोगों से और वो चाहते हैं कि जो नई बिहार गवर्नमेंट आई है उनके साथ कोऑपरेशन तो ज़रूर करेंगे, बट वो चाहते हैं कि सीमांचल में स्थिति ठीक हो।
जी बिल्कुल, सीमांचल में चूंकि ओवैसी की पार्टी है, उसने वही प्रदर्शन दोहराया है जो पिछली बार उसका प्रदर्शन था, यानी कि 2020 का। 5 सीटें उस समय भी मिली थी, 5 सीटें इस बार भी मिली हैं और साफ तौर पे है इसके बाद जो है ओवैसी का दौरा हुआ है और वो चाहते हैं कि उनकी पार्टी वहां पर ग्रो करे और यही वजह है कि उन्होंने अपने जो प्रत्याशियों से कहा है कि 2 दिन आपको अलग अलग जो प्रखंड है, यानी जहां जिस इलाके से चुनाव जीते हैं वहां जो बीडीओ कार्यालय है, सीओ कार्यालय है, वहां आम लोगों की समस्याओं को सुनना है, वहां बैठना है पूरे दिन। तो आप समझिए कि किस तरह से वो अपनी पार्टी को या कहें कि अपनी पार्टी की छवि को बदलना चाहते हैं और एक तरह से कहें कि और सरकार को लेकर उनका एक अपना नजरिया है कि नीतीश कुमार की सरकार को जो इतना प्रचंड बहुमत मिला है उसमें चाहते हैं कि उनकी पार्टी, चूंकि पिछली बार ये हुआ था कि उनकी पार्टी न सरकार को समर्थन कर रही थी न विपक्ष को समर्थन कर रही थी, ऐसे में एक लाइन इस बार जो है वो ली है जो असदुद्दीन ओवैसी हैं यानी AIMIM के चीफ ने कि हम सरकार के साथ रहेंगे, यानी सरकार का समर्थन करेंगे और सीमांचल के विकास की बात वो कर रहे हैं। चूंकि सीमांचल जो इलाका है वो कहें कि बंगाल से सटा हुआ है और बंगाल में चुनाव होने वाले हैं, ऐसे में ये कह सकते हैं कि बिहार से जो बंगाल का रास्ता जाता है वो एक रास्ता सीमांचल से भी होकर जाता है। साफ तौर पे है प्रधानमंत्री इसकी बात कर चुके हैं और अब जो है वो AIMIM के चीफ कर रहे हैं। तो ये कह सकते हैं कि एक बड़ी राजनीति या कहें कि बंगाल को लेकर भी धीरे धीरे रणनीति जो है वो बनने लगी है।
जी बिल्कुल, शैलेंद्र हमारे साथ बने रहे। इनफैक्ट meanwhile RJD's Mrityunjay Tiwari has stated that Nitish Kumar will only be given the chair of the chief minister, but the BJP will rule. He said, and I quote, soon the chair of the chief minister will also be taken by the BJP. The BJP will also destroy the JDU. Let's in fact listen into what he has said.
लगातार हम लोग बोल ही रहे थे कि ये सिर्फ आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी को कुर्सी दे दी जाएगी मुख्यमंत्री की, लेकिन राज बीजेपी चलाएगी, राज करेगी और बिहार गृह बीजेपी का अब आदरणीय नीतीश कुमार जी को सोचना है। अब मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी भी बीजेपी बहुत जल्द लेगी, ये भी देख लीजिएगा। तो अब जेडीयू को भी बीजेपी खत्म करेगी, ये भी होगा। जो कहे गए थे श्री तेजस्वी यादव जी के द्वारा, विपक्ष के द्वारा, वो सब होगा। अब आदरणीय नीतीश कुमार जी का उनसे तो अभी गृह विभाग छीना गया है, अब मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी भी छीनी जाएगी। ये भी दिन देखने के लिए नीतीश जी को, जेडीयू को मिलेगा।
शैलेंद्र, अब हम देख रहे हैं, पहले तो जब इलेक्शन से पहले आरजेडी कह रही थी कि नीतीश कुमार जी आएंगे ही नहीं सीएम के पद पे, अब जब एनडीए अलायंस ने उनको सीएम पद दे दिया है वापस से, तब आरजेडी ये बोल रही है कि बीजेपी रूल कर रही है, वो सिर्फ कहने के लिए चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं।
जी बिल्कुल, ये एक नैरेटिव बनाने की कोशिश है, क्योंकि बिहार में जिस तरह सरकार का गठन हुआ है और उसके बाद जो गृह मंत्रालय है, यानी गृह मंत्रालय पे सबसे ज्यादा एक तरह से कहें कि निगाहें गड़ी हुई थी और गृह मंत्रालय बीजेपी के पास आ गया है, सम्राट चौधरी के पास आ गया और इसी को लेकर अब जो विपक्षी दल है, यानी कि सबसे मुख्य विपक्षी दल जो है वो आरजेडी है और उसके नेता या उसके प्रवक्ता यही कह रहे हैं, क्योंकि इससे पहले भी एक नैरेटिव बनाने की कोशिश थी कि नीतीश कुमार स्वस्थ नहीं है, वो होश में नहीं है, उनकी तबीयत खराब है और उनको आकर बोलना चाहिए, उनको आकर कहना चाहिए। लेकिन जिस तरह से नीतीश कुमार ने चुनाव प्रचार किया, एक एक दिन में 7-7 रैलियां की और कई सौ किलोमीटर गाड़ियों से गए, तो ये कह सकते हैं नीतीश कुमार ने अपने आप को प्रूव किया और एक बात जो नैरेटिव गढ़ने की कोशिश थी वो खत्म हुई। लेकिन अभी जिस तरह की चीजें हुई, यानी सरकार गठन में जो सामने चीजें आई हैं, क्योंकि वित्त मंत्रालय पहले बीजेपी के पास था, अब वित्त मंत्रालय जो है वो जेडीयू के पास चला गया है। और गृह मंत्रालय जो है, चूंकि सबसे जो आंतरिक सुरक्षा है, यानी बिहार में चाहे कानून व्यवस्था का मुद्दा हो और चाहे गवर्नेंस का मुद्दा हो, चूंकि ये गृह विभाग के अंदर में आता है और गृह विभाग अब बीजेपी के पास आ गया। ऐसे में जो विपक्षी दल है वो साफ तौर पर निशाना साध रहे हैं। लेकिन एक नैरेटिव और चल रहा है कि चूंकि जो मुख्यमंत्री हैं नीतीश कुमार, उनकी उम्र हो चली है, और ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि धीरे धीरे
जी बिल्कुल शैलेंद्र, धन्यवाद आपका। That's it from us on this bulletin. We'll see you after this commercial.
धरती आबा भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की 150वीं जयंती और झारखंड राज्य के 25 वर्ष पूरे होने के उपलक्ष्य में 15 से 16 नवंबर 2025 को राज्य भर में भव्य 2 दिवसीय महोत्सव मनाया गया, जिससे पूरे राज्य में उत्सव सा माहौल रहा। इस महोत्सव में पूरे राज्य में खुशी और उमंग की लहर दिखाई दी।
आज ये 25 साल का उत्सव जरूर है, लेकिन मेरा ये मानना है कि ये 25 साल नहीं, अगला 25 साल 2050 में ये झारखंड प्रदेश कैसा होगा, उसकी परिकल्पना हम कर रहे हैं।
High alert has been sounded across all North Kashmir districts, including Bandipora, Kupwara and Baramulla. Right now, we are at a location which is near to the line of control. My VJ can show you in visuals how the security forces are continuously maintaining the vigil in these LOC areas. You can see in visual, these are the border security forces Jawans who are 24/7 maintaining the vigil in these LOC areas. Earlier we have seen many infiltration attempts have been foiled by these security forces in Uri sector, and where 2 hardcore terrorists were neutralized, and it was a group of 5 terrorists who were trying to infiltrate from cross-border LOC. Now the high alert has been sounded across all 3 districts in North Kashmir, and we are at a location which is nearby the POK areas. And earlier we have seen in Operation Sindoor, it was a massive artillery shelling this area has witnessed earlier. Now the security forces are on alert, and earlier we have seen the Red Fort blast, and there were many terror connections which are the security agencies monitoring. Now the security vigil are being maintained in these LOC areas, and we are at the zero line which is in Kupwara sector. Earlier we have seen an infiltration attempt which was foiled in this Karen sector, and my VJ can show you in visuals. These are the metal detectors, and we'll try to speak with Jawans how this metal detector is being operated and how it's working. आप मुझे बताइए कि किस तरह का काम रहता है इस मेटल डिटेक्टर का, और आपके पास जिस तरह से स्नाइपर डॉग्स भी है, किस तरह का विजिल जो है यहाँ पर इन LOC एरियाज में बढ़ाया गया है?
सर जैसे जैन श्रीमान कहने मतलब है कि जब हमारे फोर्स जाती है, पहले एरिया को मैंने डोमिनेट मतलब चेक करता हूँ। अच्छा। उसके बाद मेरी फोर्स चलती है सर। इसको जैसे बम ब्रूट ग्रेनेड सब इससे पता चलता है सर, DSMD से मेरा। ओके,
तो मुझे बताइए यहाँ पर जो आप LC पर तैनात है, यहाँ पर 24 घंटे जो है दुश्मन पर नजर रहती है, और दुश्मन की तरफ से जो घुसपैठ की कोशिश की जाती है उसको किस तरह से यहाँ पर रोका जा सकता है, और किस तरह से ड्यूटी यहाँ पर आप देते हैं?
सबसे पहले मैं सर अम्बूस लगा कर रखता हूँ सर। पता चलने के बाद थोड़ा बहुत अम्बूस लगा कर रखते हैं सर। उसके बाद चेक करते हैं सर, इधर उधर मतलब जहाँ शक्की रहता है जहाँ जगह। अच्छा। उसे चेक किया जाता है सर। ओके,
तो ये जो एरिया है काफ़ी घना जंगल है, और आगे का एरिया के बारे में हमें नहीं पता क्योंकि आगे जो है POK वाला एरिया पड़ता है, लेकिन यहाँ पर कई टाइम से इन्फिल्ट्रेशन अटेम्प्ट्स भी किए गए हैं। तो एक जवान किस तरह से इन अटेम्प्ट्स को रोकता है इन एरियाज में?
जैसे मैं यहाँ हूँ, कुछ पता चला, रेंग के जाना पड़ा, जैसे वो भी हो उसको एग्जाम देना है।
ओके, तो किसी भी घुसपैठिए को अंदर आने की इजाजत नहीं मिलती है?
नहीं मिलती है सर।
So these are the jawans which are maintaining 24/7 vigil in these LOC areas, and earlier we have seen many infiltration attempts which were foiled by these jawans, and what we are getting to know that the intelligence agencies have received an input that it's almost 120 terrorists who are continuously trying to infiltrate across the border, and right now you can see how the vigil is being maintained in these LOC areas. There are inputs that the terrorists including Lashkar and Jash have also recruited women battalion of terrorists, and they are also trying to infiltrate from these LOC areas, but the security forces including Indian Army and border security forces have maintained vigil, and there are sniffer dogs also, there are metal detectors which are looking into these hinterlands also. You can see this is the densely forested area which is located in the Kupwara's LOC sector. You can see in visuals how the vigil is being maintained, how the security forces are continuously sanitizing these forest areas, because we are receiving that the terrorists are continuously taking shelter in these forest kind of areas. My VJ can show you in visuals also. See, this is a densely forested area. The future, you can see there is no visibility. Also, there is a prediction of snow in coming days. But before that, these terrorists are continuously trying, and they are trying to infiltrate LOC areas, including in Uri sector. We have seen a major infiltration bid was foiled, and we have seen many ceasefire violation by the Pakistan, but now we are showing the ground visuals of border security forces jawans, how they are frisking highways, how they are maintaining vigil in these highways. Also, you are seeing the visuals from ground zero LOC, and see how these areas are being sanitized. These are the jawans who are continuously doing these kind of a search operation in these forest areas because of the intelligence input. Now we are showing you the ground situation in line of control Kupwara, where the BSF jawan can be seen with the sophisticated weapons. Also, they are maintaining vigil in these forest areas. With video journalist Firoz Wani, this is Ashik Mir for NewsX. इंडिया न्यूज जम्मू कश्मीर के सीमावर्ती इलाकों से तमाम तर खबरें आप तक पहुंचा रहा है, और जहां आपने अक्सर देखा और सुना होगा कि फैमिली जो है डिवाइड होती है जब भी कोई फौज में आता है, लेकिन आज देश और दुनिया को हम एक ऐसी फैमिली से मिलाने जा रहे हैं जो कि बीएसएफ में एक साथ सर्व करते हैं। ये हस्बैंड वाइफ है जो कि पहली बार आपने ऐसी कहानी देखी होगी, ऐसी स्टोरी देखी होगी, और वो भी उत्तरी कश्मीर के लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पर। मेरे साथ है असिस्टेंट कमांडर, दोनों है, एक ही रैंक है। इनसे हम जानेंगे कि किस तरह ड्यूटी यहां पर आप अंजाम देते हैं, और जो पोस्टिंग इनकी एक ही जगह पर है, ये एक कोइंसिडेंस है, एक साथ रहते हैं, और वो भी आपको एलओसी का व्यू दिखाने की कोशिश करेंगे। ये लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के वो एरियाज है। बीच में जो आप ये जहलिम देख रहे हैं, ये बहता हुआ जहलिम काफी खूबसूरत है, और यहाँ पर बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स इंश्योर करती है कि किस तरह से सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी आम नागरिकों के लिए और साथ साथ सुरक्षा के किस तरह से प्रबंध जो है यहाँ पर किए गए हैं। एक साथ दोनों आपको फ्रिस्किंग करते हुए दिखेंगे, चेकिंग करते हुए दिखेंगे, यानी जो भी ऑपरेशनल ड्यूटीज है उनको भी अंजाम एक साथ ही दिया जाता है। सबसे पहले आपका शुक्रिया बात करने के लिए। आप दोनों जो है एक ही जगह पे पोस्टेड है और दोनों की रैंक सेम है, और एक कोइंसिडेंस ही हम कह सकते हैं। फैमिली जो है अक्सर डिवाइड होती है जब भी कोई फौज में जाता है, चाहे आर्मी में हो, चाहे किसी भी सिक्योरिटी फोर्स में हो, लेकिन आप दोनों एक साथ कैसा लग रहा है इस एलओसी के एरिया में?
दिस इज़ ए वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस, बट अगर मैं कहना चाहूँ एज ए कोइंसिडेंस, तो दिस इज़ नॉट अ कोइंसिडेंट एक्चुअली। आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू माई सीनियर्स एंड द DGBSF, जिन्होंने स्पाउस पोस्टिंग को एक कंसिडरेशन दिया है और पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड के साथ में स्पाउस पोस्टिंग को वो कंसीडर कर रहे हैं। ये एक बहुत अच्छी पहल है, मैं कहूँगी, क्योंकि ये एक मोटिवेशन देता है। और जो फैमिलीज़ का सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम जो होती है फौज में फैमिलीज़ की होती है, तो स्पाउस पोस्टिंग के होने से एक पॉजिटिव मोटिवेशन रहता है और काम करने में हमारी एफिशिएंसी भी बढ़ती है और एक दूसरे का सपोर्ट बन के जो हम काम पहले से बेहतर कर सकते हैं।
एक ही बटालियन में आप दोनों हैं, नागा बटालियन इसका नाम है, और काफ़ी टाइम से आप सर्व भी कर रहे हैं एक साथ। कैसा फील कर रहे हैं आप, क्योंकि देश और दुनिया जानना चाहता है कि किस तरह की ड्यूटी रहती है ओवरऑल अगर हम इन एरियाज़ की बात करें?
देखिए, हम एक साथ पोस्टेड हैं तो इसमें बहुत खुशी की बात तो है ही, लेकिन एक बात जो आपने कही उससे मैं डिसएग्री करना चाहूँगा कि जो फौज है फैमिलीज़ को डिवाइड तो करती है लेकिन नई फैमिली भी बनाती है।
बिल्कुल।
हम यूनिट में रहते हैं तो हम इसको एक फैमिली की तरह ही ट्रीट करते हैं। हम एक साथ त्यौहार मनाते हैं, हम एक साथ बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट करते हैं, और कोई भी खुशी की बात होती है तो हम एक साथ सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। तो एक फैमिली के तौर पे हम एक साथ हमें रहने का मौका मिल रहा है। तो जैसे कि उन्होंने बताया कि एक साथ जो मोटिवेशन है वो तो अच्छा बनता ही है, जो एफिशिएंसी है, वर्क एफिशिएंसी भी काफ़ी अच्छी होती है। तो एक भारत सरकार का एक बहुत अच्छा ये पहल है जिसमें स्पाउस पोस्टिंग को इन्होंने पॉलिसी बनाया है। तो हम भारत सरकार का भी शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं और हमारे सीनियर का भी शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं जो हमें इसका मौका हमें मिल रहा है यहाँ पे।
क्योंकि एक साथ आप ड्यूटी करते हैं, एक ही बटालियन में है आप दोनों। सबसे बड़ी बात यहाँ पर यह भी है कि किस तरह की ड्यूटी इन एलओसी एरियाज में आप लोग दे रहे हैं, और जब ड्यूटी लगती है तो क्या आप एक साथ होते हैं, चाहे हम रोड ओपनिंग पार्टी की बात करें या फ्रिस्किंग हो या कोई भी ऑपरेशनल ड्यूटी हो, तो उसको कैसे आप अंजाम देते हैं दोनों?
ड्यूटी जनरली हमारी एक साथ नहीं होती है बिकॉज वी आर असिस्टेंट कमांडेंट्स, और असिस्टेंट कमांडेंट्स को कंपनी कमांडर बीएसएफ में कहते हैं। और क्योंकि हमारी डिफरेंट कंपनीज होती हैं तो दोनों कंपनीज का टास्क और एरिया अलग अलग होता है। जनरली हम साथ रहते हैं लेकिन ड्यूटीज़ हमारी अलग अलग होती हैं। और यहाँ जो हमारा काम है, हमारी कुछ कंपनियां एंटी इन्फिल्ट्रेशन रोल में हैं, रोड ओपनिंग पार्टी जो कि हमारी कॉन्वॉय को प्रोटेक्शन करने के लिए होती है। जैसा कि हमने पहले भी बताया कि स्मगलिंग, डिफरेंट जो इलीगल सब्सटेंसेस या आर्म्स एंड एमुनिशन की है उसको भी रोकने का हमारा काम है।
बिल्कुल। फिलहाल आखिर पर आपसे जानना चाहूंगा कि वेदर कंडीशंस काफी ज्यादा हार्श है और ये एलओसी एरियाज है जहां पर बर्फ जो है काफी ज्यादा रहती है, तापमान माइनस में चला जाता है, तो कितना चैलेंज रहता है इन एरियाज में गार्ड करना, इन एरियाज को सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करना?
देखिए, टेम्परेचर और जो वेदर क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन है वो एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज बन के इन एरियाज़ में डेफिनेटली आता है। तो इससे निपटने के लिए हमारे पास इक्विपमेंट्स रहते हैं जो कि विंटर्स में हमारे काफ़ी मदद करते हैं। जैसे स्नो गॉगल्स हो गया, ईसीसी क्लोथिंग होती है, स्नो बूट्स हो गया। तो इन सब इक्विपमेंट्स की मदद से हम इस वेदर के और क्लाइमेटिक जो चैलेंजेस हैं उससे हम डील करते हैं और अपनी ड्यूटी को अच्छे से परफॉर्म करते हैं।
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर जब हुआ था, आप दोनों एक साथ ही ड्यूटी दे रहे थे, तो क्या कुछ फील उस समय किया, क्या कुछ देखा और उस समय सुना?
जी, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक बहुत अलग एक अनुभव था, उससे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला। और हमारा तो एक पहला ही कॉम्बैट का एक्सपीरियंस था, तो हम बहुत अपने आप को एक खुशनसीब भी मानते हैं यहाँ पे कि इस ऑपरेशन में हमारी भी कुछ भागीदारी रही है। तो काफ़ी कुछ सीखा, काफ़ी जो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से ड्रोन्स आए यहाँ पे और शेलिंग हुई, तो इन सब जो एक अनुभव है हमें हमारी पर्सनैलिटी को और एक हमारा जो ऑपरेशनल एक्सपीरियंस है इसको बढ़ाने में काफ़ी मदद की है।
देशवासियों को आपकी तरफ से क्या पैगाम रहेगा, क्योंकि आप एलओसी पर तैनात है और यहाँ पर आपने बहुत कुछ देखा और सुना भी, चाहे हम ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की बात करें या उसके बाद की जितनी भी परिस्थितियां इस समय बनी हुई है, तो देशवासियों को क्या कहना चाहेंगे यहाँ से आप एलओसी से?
मैं देशवासियों को यही कहना चाहूँगी कि जब तक इस देश के फौजी, चाहे वो किसी भी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस में हों, सीमा पर तैनात हैं, एलओसी पर तैनात हैं, वो सेफ हैं और हम उनकी सेफ्टी के लिए हर भरसक प्रयास करेंगे।
बहुत शुक्रिया बात करने के लिए। देश की रक्षा के लिए जिस तरह से बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी फोर्स अलर्ट है, चाहे हम बॉर्डर्स की बात करें, एलओसीज की बात करें या प्लेन्स की बात करें, तो लगातार जिस तरह से काम को अंजाम दिया जाता है ये एक बड़ी बात है और देशवासियों को इन जैसे जवानों पर गर्व है। इंडिया न्यूज के लिए आशिक मीर।
नोएडा, गाजियाबाद सहित सहित राष्ट्रीय राजधानी दिल्ली पूरी तरीके से गैस चैम्बर बन चुकी है। अगर दिल्ली के AQI लेवल की बात की जाए तो AQI लेवल जो है 500 के पार देखने को मिल रहा है, यानी कि बेहद ही खराब श्रेणी में हम लोग सब मौजूद हैं दिल्ली के अक्षरधाम पर। और आप देख सकते हैं तस्वीरों में कि किस तरीके से एक धुंध की चादर जो है वो आसमान पर छाई हुई है। ये धुंध नहीं, सर्दियों की धुंध नहीं, बल्कि दिल्ली में बढ़ते प्रदूषण का स्तर जो है वो आप आसमान में देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से पॉल्यूशन का स्तर लगातार बढ़ता जा रहा है और उस पॉल्यूशन ने पूरी दिल्ली को अपनी चपेट में लिया हुआ है। देखा जाता है अमूमन जब दिल्ली में सर्दियां दस्तक देती है तो हवा की गति धीमी होने के कारण जो है इस कदर पॉल्यूशन का स्तर जो है लगातार बढ़ता जाता है, क्योंकि पॉल्यूशन जो है वो दिल्ली में ठहर जाता है। तो ये कहा जा सकता है कि जहां दिल्ली में सर्दियां दस्तक दे चुकी हैं, दिल्ली वालों को सुबह और शाम कड़ाके की सर्दी का सामना करना पड़ रहा है, तो वहीं इस बिगड़ती आबो हवा का भी सामना दिल्ली वालों को करना पड़ रहा है। जहां दिल्ली में ग्रैफ 3 के नियमों को लागू किया गया है, वहीं अब ग्रैफ 4 के नियमों को लेकर मंथन लगातार जारी है। अगर देखा जाए तो दिल्ली की बिगड़ती आबो हवा को लेकर जहां सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी हस्तक्षेप कर चुका है, तो अब जो ग्रैफ 4 के नियमों को लेकर मंथन हो रहा है उसमें किस तरीके की सख्ताई होती है ये देखना बहुत खास होगा। लेकिन ये कहा जा सकता है कि दिल्ली की बिगड़ती आबोहवा दिल्ली वालों की सेहत के लिए बेहद ही ज़्यादा हानिकारक होती जा रही है। कहीं ना कहीं ये बिगड़ती आबोहवा, ये बढ़ता प्रदूषण का स्तर जहां दिल्ली वालों के लिए हानिकारक हो रहा है, वहीं बच्चों और युवाओं के लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा हानिकारक बताया जा रहा है। देख सकते हैं अक्षरधाम की तस्वीरें किस तरीके से एक स्मोक की लेयर ने पूरे अक्षरधाम को अपनी चपेट में लिया हुआ है। कुछ ही मीटर की दूरी पर यह अक्षरधाम है, जिसकी विजिबिलिटी को देख के अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से धुंध की चादर जो है आसमान में छाई हुई है। वहीं तमाम प्रतिबंध लगने के बावजूद जिस तरीके से लगातार लोगों से ये अपील की जा रही है कि अपने निजी वाहनों का इस्तेमाल कम करें, तो आप देख सकते हैं सुबह के 7 बज रहे हैं, लेकिन दिल्ली की सड़कों पर ट्रैफिक जो है वो पूरी तरीके से दौड़ता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। यानी कि लोग जो हैं अपने निजी वाहनों का इस्तेमाल ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट का इस्तेमाल कम करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं, जो कि एक बड़ी वजह सामने नजर आती है कि दिल्ली में प्रदूषण का स्तर वाहनों की वजह से ही बढ़ता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। जिस तरीके से दिवाली पे ग्रीन क्रैकर्स की आड़ में देखा गया कि जहरीले बारूद को भी जलाया गया, उसके बाद लगातार दिल्ली की आबोहवा बिगड़ती हुई नजर आ रही है। वहीं कृत्रिम वर्षा को लेकर भी लगातार चर्चा बनी हुई थी कि कृत्रिम वर्षा कराई जाएगी तो इस बिगड़ती आबोहवा से राहत मिलेगी। लेकिन अगर बात की जाए भाजपा की सरकार आने के बाद, जहां दिल्ली की आबोहवा इतनी ज़्यादा खराब श्रेणी में पहुंच चुकी है, तो अब लोगों को कब जाके राहत मिलती है, कब साफ और शुद्ध हवा मिलती है और ग्रैफ 4 के नियमों में क्या बदलाव लेके, क्या सख्ताई लेकर अब सरकार सामने आती है और तमाम प्रतिबंध लागू होने के बावजूद भी क्या दिल्ली वालों को साफ और शुद्ध हवा मिल पाएगी, ये एक बड़ा सवाल है। वीडियो आकाश के साथ भावना, इंडिया न्यूज़, दिल्ली।
Well, right now we are at the hot spot of pollution, which is Anand Vihar, and would like to show you the visuals around how it looks like as the Delhi woke up to very poor air quality once again, and today's AQI is in the very poor category. It's 360 in national capital. If we talk about other places also, at other places also the AQI is in the hazardous to severe category. As you can see right now also, these are the visuals from the Anand Vihar, and you can see the thick layer of smog that has engulfed the entire area. These are the visuals from the Anand Vihar. As you can see, this is the hot spot as there are a lot of vehicular movement. There is a traffic congestion in this place, and that's why the pollution remains the concern for this particular place. And it's, yes, for the national capital, but this is the hot spot, and AQI is more than 400 in the Anand Vihar, which is in the very severe category. As you can also see the wet road, as there are water sprinklers that have been used to sprinkle the water. As you can see, one of the water sprinkler is also coming, from the other side of the road, and the water sprinklers are being used to sprinkle the water to, to settle the dust particles so that it does not come in the air, because the dust and constructions are one of the main reason of the pollution in the national capital. So the government is trying to deal with the problems and finding the scientific solution to deal with the pollution. Also would like to show you the data, how it looks like and what is the AQI in the national capital. So as I earlier told you, the AQI is 360 in the national capital. If we talk about the other places, as you can see, it's entirely red. Only few places are in the orange zone, but entirely it is in the red zone. The AQI is more than 300 at several places, and also if we talk about Nehru Nagar, the AQI is more than 400 at Ashok Vihar, it's 403, at Jahangirpur it's 417, at Rohini it's 412, at Vivek Vihar it's 424. A lot of places like where we are standing, it's Anand Vihar, and you can see the AQI, it's 420. So this is in the severe category, and in fact the government is trying. As you can see, the GRAP stage 3 is already in place in the national capital, and these water sprinklers are being used to sprinkle the water to settle the dust particles, and there are teams that have been officials that have been deployed on ground to ensure that these measures are being taken properly, so that the Delhi can fight with the pollution and situation slightly improve in the coming days. I am Arzu Said with video journalist Ankush for NewsX in Delhi.
UP on the rise, सुन ले आसमां, डबल इंजन का ये मिशन महान, 2047 तक हम न रुकेंगे, 6 ट्रिलियन का ड्रीम पूरा करेंगे। मथुरा की गलियों में गूंजे है राधा, अयोध्या में दूर हुई मंदिर की बाधा, काशी प्रयागराज की गोल्डन चमक, यूपी सरकार की गूंजे धमक, सड़कों पर फर्राटा फिक्रलेस बिल्कुल बिंदास, एक्सप्रेसवे पर साइंस आए पूरा विश्वास, विकसित यूपी की बढ़ गई प्यास, 2047 का ये विजन बहुत खास, माफिया का दी एंड, फियर गॉन, योगी राज में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर हुआ स्ट्रॉन्ग, बेखौफ घूमे जनता गुंडों पर मार, नया यूपी तोड़ रहा पुरानी दीवार। यूपी ऑन द राइज, सुन ले आसमां, डबल इंजन का ये मिशन महान, 2047 तक हम न रुकेंगे, 6 ट्रिलियन का ड्रीम पूरा करेंगे।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर, या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Transnational terror nexus with links to Turkey, Syria and Pakistan. Encrypted group chats under scrutiny. Bomb-making videos sent by handlers. Forensic examination unearths the Red Fort blast trail.
All right, well, the Red Fort blast investigation has unfolded into one of the most complex and far-reaching counter-terror operations in recent years, stretching far beyond the immediate geography of Delhi and into the networks of transnational radical groups operating out of Turkey, Syria and of course Pakistan. Hello and welcome. You're watching Explained with me, Vineet Malhotra. Today we are discussing Delhi blast's international connection and its similarity to the 2022 blasts in Coimbatore. At the heart of the investigation are three figures who shared a common background and, as authorities now believe, a common pathway into radicalization. Dr. Muzammil Ganai, Dr. Umar Nabi and Dr. Adil, all educated and seemingly integrated into middle-class professional life. Investigators believe that all three took a trip to Turkey in 2022. This trip marked a significant turning point that connected them to elements operating along the Turkey-Syria corridor. This region has long served as a fertile ground for foreign recruitment, arms training, digital radicalization and remote operations coordination. It is being believed that all three met the Syrian operative during their 20-day long stay in Turkey. Allegedly, the arrangement was made by Ukasa, a handler from the banned terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed. Ukasa, who was earlier believed to be operating from Turkey, is now being suspected to be hiding along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. They were supposed to meet Ukasa, but that never happened. Instead, he directed them to a Syrian representative. Investigators say that Adil then travelled from Turkey to Afghanistan via the UAE and believed to have joined Al-Qaeda. Umar also wanted to go to Afghanistan, but Ukasa allegedly instructed him to return to India for what he called bigger plans of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. Umar Ubaid came back, joined Al-Falah University in Faridabad and set up a module there, starting to collect explosives for future attacks. Officials have identified at least two key foreign handlers apart from Ukasa. They have been identified as Hanzullah and Nisar. Well, these could be pseudonyms and not real identities. And now the biggest revelations that also connect it with the 2022 Coimbatore terrorist blast. The person using the identity of Hanzullah is alleged to have sent over 42 videos on bomb making to Dr. Ganai, who allegedly arranged storage for explosives used by the module. These videos were not sent through regular channels but through encrypted platforms like Signal and Telegram, where the use of vanished timers, double layers of encryption and multiple dummy profiles made tracing difficult. Encrypted groups, sometimes with just 4 or 5 members and sometimes with broader networks, were used to share material, hold discussions and provide remote training. Security officials say that the chats reveal a deliberate effort to operate under the radar using VPN chains, temporary number registrations and cloud backups that were regularly deleted or migrated across accounts. What made the recovery of these chats possible was a combination of device seizure, cloud retrieval and data fragments left behind despite attempts by the accused to erase evidence. Well, now another name has emerged at the center of this web, a foreign handler called Mohammed Shahid Faisal. He operates under aliases like Colonel, Laptop Bhai and Bhai. Faisal has been on the radar of security agencies for years and is believed to have coordinated multiple terror modules in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu since 2020. He's linked to 3 major incidents: the Coimbatore car suicide blast in October 22, the Mangaluru auto rickshaw blast in November 2022 and the Bengaluru Rameshwaram cafe blast in March 2024. Faisal is also known as Zakir Ustad. He was an engineering graduate from Bengaluru. He went missing in 2012 after the Lashkar-e-Taiba module of young engineers and doctors was busted in the city. Investigators say he fled to Pakistan and has more recently been operating from the Syria-Turkey border. According to sources, Faisal moved to the Syria-Turkey border more recently and his identity was established in the NIA probe of Rameshwaram cafe blast, where he has been named as an absconding accused. Interestingly, Ukasa is also believed to be based in Turkey. This is the first link. Security agencies now say there may be a direct link between the Delhi incident and the recent blast in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu through a shared remote handler, all based in Syria or Turkey. The Red Fort blast also closely mirrors the Coimbatore suicide car bomb attack of October 2022, where a young engineer, Jamesha Mubin, died after triggering an LPG and IED-based explosion outside a temple. Searches after that blast recovered chemicals like potassium nitrate and red phosphorus, along with a pen drive holding self-recorded confession videos. The second link. The NIA found that Mubin and his associates learnt do-it-yourself bomb-making techniques online, exactly the pattern being seen in the Red Fort case. Now, this is the third link. A similar pattern emerged in the Mangaluru blast case, where a college dropout, Mohammad Sharik, was trained remotely by handlers using encrypted apps and was injured after his IED exploded prematurely in an auto rickshaw. Since the Red Fort blast, security agencies have been questioning key ISIS-linked accused in jails across Karnataka and Tamil Nadu to identify whether the same handlers were also behind the Delhi module. More revelations are coming to the fore apart from this connection. Dr. Muzammil Shakil reportedly used a floor mill to prepare chemicals for explosives. He operated the machine at his rented room in Faridabad. It is the same place from where the police recovered 360 kg of ammonium nitrate and other explosives a day before the blast that rocked Delhi. Shakil allegedly grounded urea in the floor mill to obtain a finer consistency. He then processed it further using an electrical device to refine it into chemical components. His medical license was also recently cancelled. As the investigation unfolds, the cloud of details grow. One central reality stands out. This case has revealed how fragile the line is between the ordinary and the extremists, how quickly certain individuals can be pulled into a transnational network, and how encrypted digital spaces have become the new ground zero for remote recruitment and training. As the investigation expands, more facts are likely to emerge, more individuals may come under scrutiny, and more layers of international network will be exposed. For now, the Red Fort blast case remains an urgent reminder of the new digital borderless shape of terror modules in the 21st century.
A transnational terror nexus with links to Turkey, Syria and Pakistan. Encrypted group chats under scrutiny. Bomb-making videos sent by handlers. Forensic examination unearths the Red Fort blast trail.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल।
Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. Let's look at the top headlines at this hour. As security forces ramp up search operations, news on the Al-Falah University has tightened. Raids across the Taj area of Faridabad are underway. Agencies probe labs inside Al-Falah Medical College. On the sidelines of the ongoing G20 summit in Johannesburg, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held a bilateral meeting with his Australian counterpart. Moreover, the PM interacted with members of the Indian diaspora and met with CEOs of top companies. In a big win for crime branch, a Pakistan-based cross-border arms smuggling nexus has been busted. 10 Turkey and Chinese-made pistols have been recovered. According to information, drones were used to smuggle weapons across the border. Delhi's air quality persisted in the very poor category, recording an average AQI of 359 on Saturday morning, according to data from the air quality early warning system. Despite recording a slight improvement from the average of 364 AQI recorded on Friday, a layer of toxic smog continued to envelop parts of the city early in the morning. In a landmark meeting, US President Donald Trump hosted New York Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani at the White House. The Republican president and New York City's Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani were warm and friendly, speaking repeatedly of their shared goals. Indian women have scripted history. The blind women's cricket team has reached the finals of the World T20 Blind Cricket Championship, defeating Australia at the ongoing championship in Sri Lanka. In breaking news coming in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived now at the G20 meeting that is currently underway in the city of Johannesburg in South Africa. Visuals on your screens. Prime Minister is walking on the red carpet to meet the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. So you can see there on your screens a very historic moment. Our Prime Minister over there at the G20 summit. The red carpet has been rolled out for him over there, and you can see that he is all ready to meet the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. So those visuals on your screens over there, this is the first time that a G20 summit is being held on the African continent, and the Prime Minister is expected to hold bilateral meetings with some of the leaders present in Johannesburg. Joining us live on the broadcast is my colleague Arzu Seth with more details on this story. Arzu, we've got visuals from Johannesburg. The red carpet has been rolled out for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He has met the President of South Africa over there.
Well, definitely, you know, the Prime Minister has just reached to the venue where the G20 will be held, and this is the first time that the, African soil, the G20 is being held, and Prime Minister is going to put forward the idea of Vasudev Kutumbakam and One Earth, One Family, and, there is a sustainable development, and there are other issues on which the Prime Minister is going to speak about. And also on the sideline of the G20 summit, there will be also bilateral meeting that the Prime Minister is going to hold with the G20 countries. So definitely it's a very important visit of Prime Minister, the 3-day visit which begins from yesterday, and Prime Minister is going to meet the group of 20s leaders summit, the first ever to be held in African country amid a boycott by the United States. Trump has boycotted it over widely discredited claim that the host country mistreated white people. So this is going to be, this is going to be seen what more is going to happen, because the Prime Minister has just reached to the venue. There will be a group photo that all the G20 members are going to take, and also a lot of things on the different aspects. The discussion will be held at the G20. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Arzu, for all those details on that story. We are turning our attention towards one of the most dramatic political reversals of the year. President Donald Trump struck an unexpectedly warm tone towards New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani during a meeting at the White House, just weeks after denouncing him as a communist lunatic and threatening to cut off federal funding if he won the election. The shift has surprised everyone who had expected a tense encounter given the bitter exchanges during the campaign. Instead, Trump described Mamdani as a rational person, praised his vision for New York, and signaled a willingness to work closely with him on affordability and public safety, a remarkable U-turn from the hostility that he projected throughout the mayoral race. Let's in fact take a look at the statements that have come, that we have been coming across from US President Donald Trump over the entire duration of the mayoral race. So this is US President Donald Trump's 360 turn. Before now, he used to say, in fact, that he is a communist lunatic, a radical left lunatic. So remember that during this entire mayoral race, which Zohran Mamdani was part of before he won the elections, Trump used to be very opposed to this entire idea of electing him. He had even instructed the people of citizens of New York that do not, elect him, because that will be very bad news for New York. However, now you can see after, he is a very rational person. We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. So he does have that caveat. He's saying that he's a very rational person, and we agree on a lot more than he actually thought. So clearly, when we again see his previous statements, he is a communist, and the last thing that we need is a communist. So we can clearly, we'll keep seeing all those details from what his statements actually were. But remember that firstly, when he was saying that he's a communist and the last thing that we need is a communist, but now he's saying that I give him a lot of credit. He ran a good race and came out of nowhere. So clearly we can see that this is the U-turn that he actually made. Previously, he had also says that he is bad news. Like I said, he's told, you New Yorkers that if you elect him, he will be bad news for the city. But now he's saying that some of his views have changed. We had some very interesting conversations. Joining us on the broadcast to discuss this warm bonhomie between US President Donald Trump and Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, a former diplomat. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Very good afternoon to you. We appreciate your time. We want to understand this entire 360 turn that Trump's statements have taken, sir. We do believe that this is the way forward when you want to work towards, achieving certain goals, when you want to work towards achieving shared goals, and this is the way. But Trump has usually not been so warm in this, sir.
Thank you, Shivani, for having me. Pleased to be on your channel. Two adages need to be mentioned. Firstly, realpolitik in the United States trumps ideology. And secondly, nothing succeeds like success. These two have their own respective bases who are devoted to them. MAGA for President Trump, and middle and lower middle class immigrant, mostly New Yorkers, who are stifled by high price of living in favor of Zohran Mamdani. They have clashed during the electioneering. Trump has plenty of real estate still under his name or his trust's name in New York, and he would be deeply interested in preserving it and maintaining it till after his presidency ends and he resumes the guardianship of the trust. Secondly, he has plenty of billionaire supporters, the oligarchs of New York, who feel threatened by Mamdani's success and his agenda to impose 2% tariff or tax on the highly rich people, and to support plenty of socialistic measures such as free buses, free child care, etc. in New York. There has to be a modus vivendi found to support his billionaire base. On the other hand, Mamdani can need the goodwill of President Trump to get by, because New York needs a lot of federal cash assistance to revive the city and to support its bureaucracy. So all told, there is a marriage of convenience, and with the elections to the Congress scheduled next year, both would have to look for their support base continuing and try to appease the lower middle class hurt by their respective measures. Trump has been vociferous supporter of high tariffs, which eventually translate into higher prices for including for his MAGA base. And similarly, Zohrani has a lot of electoral promises to keep, and the voters would be watching very carefully on both ends. in the end, both are demagogues, both have raised expectations from their support base sky high, and they need to work towards fulfilling those expectations.
Absolutely.
This brings them together.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for bringing that perspective onto that news. We are shifting focus now. Improvement in air quality on 22nd November as the AQI stands at 370 according to the Central Pollution Control Board in the very poor category. Although the most monitoring stations recorded hazardous levels amid the deteriorating air quality, the Delhi government has directed all schools, colleges, universities and sports bodies in the capital to postpone physical sports competitions scheduled for November and December. In the last 7 days, the maximum AQI was at 459 according to reports. Meanwhile, the minimum recorded on 17th November was 187. Delhi records light fog in the sky on 22nd November with a temperature of 25 degrees and moderate wind speed. Parali or stubble burning is one of the major causes of the increasing AQI in the national capital region. So now let's take a look at how parali or stubble burning cases are faring right now currently. So this has been one of the major causes of the entire air quality dipping in the national capital region. So let's look at and see the comparison at the firm's map. So today versus last week, now remember that this is Delhi, this is Haryana and this is Punjab. So we have a comparison in front of you of all the 3 states and how the parali burning is. So when we look at 15th November 2025, which is last week, there was a lot of parali burning incidents. Remember, now the government has implemented, the government has also spoken to the state governments of various states to reduce the number of parali burning incidents, and you can see that on 22nd November 2025, the number of parali burning incidents have reduced in Punjab as well. So as compared to last week when we see that. And remember that parali burning remains one of the most important reasons why we have the deteriorated air quality in the national capital region. However, when we compare it to today and last month, we will see that the number has increased, and that's why the air quality index is still in the hazardous to very poor category. So when we look at today, that is 22nd November 2025, there is still a lot of parali incidents being reported across the national capital region and also in Punjab and Haryana. So these red dots that you see on your screens are those parali burning incidents. However, when we compare it to last month it was fairly reduced because it was not winter yet, the winter had not set in, the cold had not set in. So they were not also, that was not a time when they actually burned the crops. So this was a lesser number of incidents that had been reported on 22nd October 2025. The number of incidents was a lot less as compared to what we have today. However, next when we look at today versus last year, we look at how the parali burning is. So 22nd November 2024, almost a similar amount of incidents have been reported. This was last year. You can look at the number of red dots. So these are the incidents of parali burning. Obviously a little less as compared to this year, and that's why the Delhi government in fact is insisting that if parali burning does not come under control, we might see a very bad situation going forward as well. So you can see that comparison as compared to last year, the number of incidents have also increased. So clearly we can see that parali burning remains one of the major concerns for the Delhi government, and even though they have been in fact implementing a lot of measures like GRAP 4 and 3 in certain areas, we are still seeing hazardous AQI levels. Joining us on the broadcast to discuss this further is Kavita Ashok, environmentalist. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. We appreciate your time. We want to understand, ma'am, the government is doing whatever it can It's implementing the GRAP 3 and GRAP 4 measures. It's making sure that on ground the hotspots are identified. However, every day we are still seeing a dip in the air quality. We are still seeing those hazardous numbers above 400. It's becoming difficult for people to go out and breathe.
Yes, I think the government now has woken up, and with the implementation of GRAP 4, I guess, we might find a little shift in the AQI. And moreover, let not Delhiites be very happy that we've come down to 450. In any case, the bracket which WHO gives for healthy air is in any case AQI somewhere lesser than 40, 50. We are living in a gas chamber in any case, Shivani. And so I think GRAP 4 might help a little, but let me also mention for people to understand, there is also the winds. If we have strong winds in the coming week, then maybe air pollution will fall, come down more, because absolutely the air pollutants get accumulated above the ground level, and once there is lack of proper breeze or wind that we say, then there is nowhere for the pollution to go. So of course we have created this mess ourselves, with parali, with construction, with vehicular pollution, with thermal plants, industries, construction, roads, dirt, garbage burning. There are a million reasons for air pollution so high in Delhi and NCR. But, or to say that GRAP 4 has been implemented, and we hope that we have good wind in the coming week, which will bring down the AQI and a lot of relief for Delhiites.
Absolutely, ma'am. But we are also seeing that the wind has been moderate speed. So we have been tracking the wind speed as well, and that hasn't been so well. We saw some areas, in fact, in the Delhi NCR hitting 600, ma'am. So obviously the government is taking, the people are also taking precautions, not going out, not stepping out. The sports bodies have asked, children to stay at home, not go outside and play sports. All the tournaments have been delayed. But going forward, how do we, because this will take a lot of time to be implemented, and we cannot obviously predict what is going to happen in the weather forecast, if there are going to be strong winds or not.
We do understand as people, as laymen also, that entirely we can't wait for the winds to blow and then the air pollution to go. So the thing is that every year we know that air pollution sets in after, around the Shera Diwali. So we have to be better equipped, better prepared to work on ground level, have the GRAP implemented on time, have the fines and penalties, get those factories, not buzzing in the night, because I'm telling you, Ghaziabad, in the night, if you go, you will see a lot of factories working overnight, because certain rules have been implemented, have been put on ground. So I think that we need more stricter administration to bring this down, now that it already hell has been created in the city. And secondly, I think that the government has done a wise thing now to, keep the shut down the schools and make children sit at home. Even sports activity has been, cut down or even stopped altogether. I also request the people of Delhi NCR to not go for morning and evening walks, because it is the most lethal time to take in those pollutants. Morning and evenings are the most lethal times. And also, if you really want to venture out for some important work, please go in the afternoons, because that time the pollutants are comparatively, the AQI is little lesser than the early mornings.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing those perspectives into the picture. Also, the air quality index in Delhi is continuing to remain very poor, and the Commission for Air Quality Management, or CAQM, has stated that the measures that are part of the Graded Response Action Plan, or GRAP 4, will be implemented under GRAP 3. This comes as the National Capital Region on Saturday recorded an overall AQI of 360, with the possibility that the pollution situation will worsen in the upcoming days. The following measures of GRAP 4 will be brought under GRAP 3. Number 1, the NCR state government will have to take a decision on allowing public, municipal and private offices to work on 50% strength and the rest to work from home. Secondly, the central government may take appropriate decision on permitting work from home for employees in central government offices. Joining us on the broadcast is my colleague Arzu Seth with more details on this. Arzu, we are learning of these new GRAP 4 regulations that might come into play. Could you please take us through the details?
Well, CAQM, NCR and adjoining areas have revised the graded response action plan for the entire NCR, directed to impose the measures for severe AQI category under GRAF stage 4 to be taken under GRAF stage 3. So according to CAQM, as measures undertaken under the GRAF 4 will now be under GRAF 3. Means all those restrictions and measures that were there in the GRAF 4 now will be implemented in GRAF 3, which is already in place in national capital, and this has been done keeping in mind the air quality and also the deteriorating air quality in the national capital. The NCR state government will decide whether public, municipal and private offices can operate at 50% strength and with the rest working from home. The central government may take a decision on permitting work from home for employees in central government offices. Meanwhile, directing a change in the schedule of GRAF, the measures currently under GRAF 1, stage 2 will be taken under GRAF stage 1. Now under GRAF 1, the government will ensure an uninterrupted power supply to discourage the use of alternate power generating sets, equipment, and also synchronize traffic movement and deploy adequate personnel at intersection traffic congestion points for the smooth flow of traffic. Other measures include the alerts in newspaper, TV, radio to advise people about the air pollution level and do and don'ts for minimizing polluting activities. In fact, today also the CM Rekha Gupta and Delhi government has distributed the heaters to the RWA guards so that there is no open burning in the area. So definitely now this is a huge step now being taken that GRAF stage 3 is already in place in national capital, but the the measures under the GRAF 4 will be implemented under the GRAF 3 now. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Arzu, for all those details. We are shifting our focus now to the Delhi Red Fort blast case. In breaking news coming in, we are learning that the Delhi Police Special Cell has arrived in Srinagar and are expected to question suspects in Srinagar. Doctors and accused have been detained by the J&K police. Earlier, the Doctors Association Jammu had strongly condemned the recent terrorist attack in Delhi and expressed deep shock over reports suggesting that individuals associated with the medical field may be linked to the incident. A spokesperson of DAJ said, and I quote, "The association stands firmly with the nation and the families of the victims of the cowardly act." Joining us on the broadcast is my colleague Ashik Mir with more details on the story. Ashik, we are now learning that a Delhi Police Special Cell has arrived in Srinagar. What more details could you tell us?
Yes, as you said, a major development linked to the Delhi Red Fort blast case. The Delhi Police Special Cell has reached Srinagar to question suspect detained in connection with the case. Sources confirm that multiple suspects, including doctors, have been detained by Jammu Kashmir Police over the past few days. The arrests are linked to the larger white-collar terror module that was unearthed and following the recovery of weapons, including an AK-47 from a doctor's locker in GMC Anantnag. The Delhi Police Special Cell is now coordinating with the local law enforcement to interrogate the accused in Srinagar, and investigators suspect that the module had linked with Pakistan-based handlers and may have aided in logistic and planning of the Delhi attack. Security has been heightened around the detention center where questioning is underway. Top officials say more arrests could follow as digital evidence, financial trials and communication intercepts are being analyzed. Sources also indicate that more digital devices and lockers are being examined and fresh raids could be following in the North and South Kashmir connection in this case. Well, continue tracking this developing story. Back to studio.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashik, for all those details. With that, we've come to the end of this bulletin. We'll see you after this commercial.
धरती आबा भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की 150वीं जयंती और झारखंड राज्य के 25 वर्ष पूरे होने के उपलक्ष्य में 15 से 16 नवंबर 2025 को राज्य भर में भव्य 2 दिवसीय महोत्सव मनाया गया, जिससे पूरे राज्य में उत्सव सा माहौल रहा। इस महोत्सव में पूरे राज्य में खुशी और उमंग की लहर दिखाई दी।
आज ये 25 साल का उत्सव जरूर है, लेकिन मेरा ये मानना है कि 25 साल नहीं, अगला 25 साल 2050 में ये झारखंड प्रदेश कैसा होगा, उसकी परिकल्पना हम कर रहे हैं।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया NewsX का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX, a deep dive with me, Vineet Malhotra. What should have been a routine school morning turned tragic for a 16-year-old Shaurya Patil's family. The student jumped from the platform of Rajendra Nagar metro station onto the main road on Tuesday around 2:30 p.m. Police immediately reached the spot and he was rushed to the hospital where he was declared dead. Shaurya was usually driven to school and back, but on that day he left the campus through the back gate and went on to the metro station. A shocking crowd called the police, who found the 16-year-old boy's school bag with what appeared to be a handwritten suicide note. Earlier this week, one of the teachers told him that they will call his parents and issue a transfer certificate. This case was revealed or has revealed a disturbing pattern of harassment, ignored complaints and systemic lapses at Delhi's St. Columbus School. Shaurya Patil, a class 10 student of St. Columbus School, a leading private school in Delhi, was allegedly mocked and ill-treated by his teachers for a year. The last straw was the threat of expulsion after his parents complained to the school. The child left behind a note blaming his school teachers of harassment. He wrote that his last wish was that no student should be treated the way he was, and said that the teachers he named in the note must be punished. In it, he wrote, "The school staff said so much that I had to do it. My last wish is that action be taken against them so that no other student does what I did. I'm sorry, but the teachers did this to me." He also expressed apologies to his family and requested that his organs be donated to those in need. In the court, he also apologized to his family repeatedly. "Sorry, mummy, I broke your heart many times and I am doing it for the last time. This is how the teachers in the school are. What do I say?" And according to Shaurya's father, Pradeep Patil, his son was scolded and publicly humiliated on the day he took his life, and after he fell during a dance practice on stage. A shattered Pradeep Patil said his son had complained about the ill treatment for a year. Pradeep Patil also alleged his son had been threatened by a teacher for 4 days. He had been told his parents should be summoned and he would be expelled. The boy's father, 48, who runs a business in Karol Bagh, said his wife is a homemaker and his oldest son a college student in South Delhi. He said that the teenager had been studying at the same school since class 2nd. And according to him, the teachers allegedly kept pressuring the boy to score better marks, and the child repeatedly told them he was trying. The father said that the family had decided to shift him to another school after class 10th, and his father said, "We asked him to continue till the board exams because the school has discretion over 20 internal marks." He alleged that on Tuesday his son collapsed at school, but his teacher told him he was faking it. When the boy insisted that he had fainted and began crying, the teacher allegedly dismissed that as fake too. This incident is described in the note recovered by the police. A classmate of the student corroborated with whatever he had written in the 1.5-page note in his bag, saying that the boy was indeed being bullied by the teachers. When Shaurya broke down on stage, a teacher allegedly told him, "Cry as much as you want, I don't care." Shaurya's friends and classmates said he had gone through a tough time in the last 5 months. Parents, students and alumni said that the school's counsellors exist only on paper and do not feel like a safe space. Former students alleged a pick and point culture where certain children were repeatedly singled out. Following the incident, the Delhi police registered an FIR against 4 teachers who have been suspended. The suspension order instructed them to stay available for official communication and barred them from visiting the school or interacting with students, staff or parents without written permission. And according to the FIR filed in the case, Shaurya's purported suicide note blamed 4 teachers. Following this, a case was registered against the concerned school and the staffers under section 107, which is abetment to suicide, and 3, which is common intention of criminal act of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Other students of the school alleged that parents are called to the school over minor issues, and meanwhile the Directorate of Education under the Delhi government had formed a 5-member committee to probe the incident, chaired by Joint Director Harshit Jain. The committee will submit its report within 3 days. And after the recent student suicide case in Delhi St. Columbus, the Education Minister Ashish Sood has ordered a comprehensive review of the mental health practices being followed across all schools in the national capital. Delhi government has also started to write to schools to check whether CBSE's prescribed mental health standards are being properly implemented. Sood has also mentioned that there will be full government support extended to any school that requires help in strengthening its mental health framework. But is this enough? Let's talk about this with Dr. Bhavna Barmi, clinical psychologist. Dr. Bhavna, appreciate you taking up the time and speaking with us. Well, this is absolutely unbelievable what has happened. Everybody knows of St. Columbus. It's a good school. It's a convent school. And also, to apprise our viewers, it's the same school that Shah Rukh Khan went to. It's the same school a number of prominent leaders and corporate leaders in the past and present have attended. What do you make of this case, and do you think this also sheds a light? It puts a prism on a lot of this harassment culture which does not get exposed until something dramatic like this happens.
It's truly absolutely shocking and very, very unfortunate. And what I would like to start by saying is that any suicides, especially student suicides, usually happen due to a combination of psychological, social, academic and environmental pressures. And it is rarely caused by one single event. So one needs to be very, very sensitive, because when somebody comes to this level, it results from multiple stressors and pressures building up over time. And when these pressures combine, the student, the child begins to feel hopeless, helpless, trapped, and unheard, which can ultimately push them towards such extreme decisions. Again, I want to bring to the point that emotional hurt from humiliation, especially from people who the younger generation, the students, look up to, like teachers, like parental figures, when they mock, when they insult, when they shame, especially in front of others, whether it is peers or family members, it has an intense damaging impact on self-esteem. Public humiliation is actually unbearable for adolescents, and they may start believing that they are not good enough, and thereby they start getting a loss of self-worth. So things like humiliation, mocking or constant scolding slowly destroys a student's confidence, and they start believing, I am a disappointment, I can never improve, I am not good enough. And when self-worth collapses...
But Dr. Bhavna, aren't there symptoms of this harassment that can be picked up by the family or the parents? Aren't there symptoms that can warn a parent that something like this is happening, so that such a situation, such an incident is avoided altogether?
Absolutely. See, We can see these symptoms in 4 main zones. One is the somatic symptoms. When you see that your child at home is not sleeping well, is not eating well, or is having constant aches and pains and complaints of procrastination in school, it is a signal. When there is sudden silence, it is a signal. When the child loses a loss of interest, that means earlier the student was looking forward to certain pleasurable activities, hobbies, meeting up with friends, meeting up with relatives, meeting up and spending time with family. When there is a loss of interest, even in pleasurable activities or routine activities that they were doing before, it is another signal. The fear of going to school is the alarm. When they say, I don't want to go to school, I am a failure, I am feeling disappointed, I can't do this kind of a negative thought process, which either can come out as an externalization of stress in terms of anger, irritability, short-term, or what would you say, displacement of anger, or when it comes out in the form of internalization of stress, like crying, feeling sad, apathy. All these are 4 main dimensions where we can notice the warning signals, and definitely early intervention saves life. So it is very, very important to create a emotionally safe home and an emotionally safe classroom where all these kinds of things don't end up into trauma. Very important.
All right, ma'am, appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for your thoughts and your perspective. We take a short break on that note. Be right back.
Now it's not just the parents, but the kids themselves are going and looking for partners.
Where you meet and where you vibe and who you feel like, is going to be your partner.
Could be a state ID. So they upload that. So at least the basics of their age, their first and last name, and their gender. So at least that on AnviMet, we are sure what we are getting.
You need to have a validation on the background check. You need to know what about his earnings. Watch We Women Want at these times on NewsX.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Deep Dive with me, Vineet Malhotra. After US President Donald Trump's efforts to broker a peace deal in Gaza, his administration quietly began working on a similar proposal for the protracted war between Russia and Ukraine. The detailed 28-point proposal has reportedly been developed by Washington and Moscow and formally presented by the United States. The draft peace plan emerged after Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, and key Putin aide and Russian envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, spent 3 days together in Miami. According to a U.S. official, Witkoff, who has been in close contact with the Russian envoy, spearheaded the plan's development. Witkoff and Dmitriev have struck up a close diplomatic rapport as regular counterparts since the start of Trump's second presidency. Now, while the Witkoff-Dmitriev draft plan aims at rapidly ending the 4-year-long war between Russia and Ukraine, the proposal has also sparked concerns in Europe over its Moscow slant. So what is this 28-point plan that has now been presented in Kyiv? Well, the White House has pushed back on claims that Ukraine was not involved in the drafting of this plan, while the plan's provisions have received a carefully diplomatic response from Kyiv. So let's dive into the United States proposal and what's it all about. Well, the detailed 28-pointer begins by affirming that Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed under the agreement. It also affirms that a comprehensive non-aggression agreement will be concluded between Russia, Ukraine and Europe, under which all ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered settled. Following the agreement, it is expected that Russia will not invade neighboring countries and the NATO will not expand further. The United States will also mediate dialogue between Russia and NATO to resolve all security issues and create conditions for de-escalation. The US has also laid down that Ukraine will receive reliable security guarantees. However, the size of the Ukrainian armed forces will be limited to 600,000 personnel. The peace plan also takes a strong stance against Ukraine's admission into the NATO by asking Ukraine to enshrine in its constitution that it will not join NATO. The plan also states that NATO should agree to include in its statutes a provision that Ukraine will not be admitted in the future. Furthermore, NATO should agree not to station its troops in Ukraine. The peace plan also lays down provisions for the European Union by stating that European fighter jets will be stationed in Poland. The peace plan makes provisions for a US guarantee. Under this, the US will receive compensation for the guarantee. However, if Ukraine invades Russia, it will lose the said guarantee. Additionally, if Russia invades Ukraine, in addition to a decisive coordinated military response, all global sanctions will be reinstated and the recognition of the new territory and all other benefits of this deal will be revoked. Alongside this, if Ukraine launches a missile at Moscow or St. Petersburg without cause, the security guarantee will be deemed invalid. While pushing against NATO membership, the plan deems that Ukraine be eligible for EU membership and receive short-term preferential access to the European market. A powerful global package of measures to rebuild Ukraine is also written down into the plan. Under this, there will be the creation of a Ukraine Development Fund to invest in fast-growing industries, including technology, data centers, and artificial intelligence. The United States will cooperate with Ukraine to jointly rebuild, develop, modernize, and operate Ukraine's gas infrastructure, including pipelines and storage facilities. There will be joint efforts to rehabilitate war-affected areas. The package will also involve infrastructure development for Ukraine as well as extraction of minerals and natural resources. The World Bank will also develop a special financing package to accelerate these efforts. As for Russia, the plan states that the country will be reintegrated into the global economy and the lifting of sanctions will be discussed and agreed upon in stages and on a case-by-case basis. The United States will also enter into a long-term economic cooperation agreement with Russia for mutual development in the areas of energy, natural resources, infrastructure, and other mutually beneficial corporate opportunities. Russia will also be invited to rejoin the G8. Laying down specifics for frozen funds, the plan states that they will be used as follows. $100 billion in frozen Russian assets will be invested in US-led efforts to rebuild and invest in Ukraine. The US will receive 50% of the profits from this venture, while Europe will add $100 billion to increase the amount of investment available for Ukraine's reconstruction. European funds will also be unfrozen. Meanwhile, the remainder of the frozen Russian funds will be invested in a separate US-Russian investment vehicle that will implement joint projects in specific areas. This fund will be aimed at strengthening relations and increasing common interests to create a strong incentive not to return to conflict. The United States also affirms a joint American-Russian working group on security issues to be established to promote and ensure compliance with all provisions of this agreement. The US-led plan also asks Russia to enshrine in law its policy of non-aggression towards Europe and Ukraine. The United States and Russia will also agree to extend the validity of treaties on the non-proliferation and control of nuclear weapons. Parallelly, Ukraine agrees to be a non-nuclear state in accordance with the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. And as per the agreement, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant will be launched under the supervision of the IAEA, and the electricity produced by it will be distributed equally between Russia and Ukraine. Both Russia and Ukraine will also undertake to implement educational programs in schools and society aimed at promoting understanding and tolerance of different cultures and eliminating racism and prejudice. With regards to the territorial disputes, the peace plan states that Crimea, Luhansk and Donetsk will be recognized as de facto Russian, including by the United States. Meanwhile, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia will be frozen, which will mean de facto recognition along the line of contact. Russia will also relinquish other agreed territories that it controls outside the 5 regions, and furthermore, Ukrainian forces will withdraw from the part of Donetsk oblast that they currently control, and this withdrawal zone will be considered a neutral, demilitarized buffer zone, internationally recognized as territory belonging to the Russian Federation. However, Russian forces will not enter this demilitarized zone after agreeing on future territorial arrangements. Both the Russian Federation and Ukraine will undertake not to change these arrangements by force, and any security guarantees will not apply in the event of a breach of this commitment. The agreement will also mean that Russia will not prevent Ukraine from using the Dnieper River for commercial activities, and agreements will be reached on the free transport of grain across the Black Sea. A humanitarian committee will also be established to resolve outstanding issues, such as all remaining prisoners and bodies being exchanged on an all-for-all basis, all civilian detainees and hostages being returned, including children. A family reunification program will be implemented, and measures will be taken to alleviate the suffering of the victims of the conflict. The United States-led plan also lays down the Ukrainian will hold elections in 100 days following the signing of the agreement. All parties involved in this conflict will receive full amnesty for their actions during the war and agree not to make any claims or consider any complaints in the future. This peace agreement will be legally binding, and its implementation will be monitored and guaranteed by the Peace Council, headed by President Donald Trump. Sanctions will also be imposed for violations, and finally, once all parties agree to this memorandum, the ceasefire will take effect immediately after both sides retreat to agreed points to begin implementation of the agreement. All right, well, the House has issued an official statement asserting that the plan has been in quiet development for the past month and is good for both Russia and Ukraine. Listen in to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and what she said.
Special Envoy Witkoff, Marco Rubio have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge...
All right, Dr. Rajan Kochar, senior defense expert, is joining us on the broadcast to talk more about this. General Kochar, while I was going through this monologue that I just read out, obviously there seems to be a great effort to put in some balance as to what both sides are getting. But to me, as somebody who follows this region, it seems that Ukraine may be getting the shorter end of the stick.
Thank you, Uday. I think you are bang on the target.
It's Vineet, sir, not Uday. Uday is on leave today, but nevertheless.
You see, look at this agreement. The first important standout point of the agreement is a loss of territory. Ukraine has lost 20% of its country to Russia. And now this agreement will formalize not only this, Crimea also. Because Russia has been insisting that Crimea be also recognized as a part of Russia. So now we have the entire Donbass, the Crimea, and Zaporozhye and Kherson, large areas have been captured. So it will be status quo. It means that wherever the Russians are today, that will be their territory. So that is one important victory for Russia, because Russia has been insisting, Putin has been insisting that this is a red line. Now Russia will give back the areas captured in Sumy and Kharkiv, because these are the two areas where the Russians have also captured some territory, but there was indication from Putin some time back that he was okay to give back these areas. So I think this is a major positive for the Russians. Second positive for the Russians is that Ukraine will never become a member of the NATO. And I was wondering, because 4 years back, Russia wanted the same thing. And you have fought a war for 4 years, so much of destruction, and you're back